Whoa, 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 whoa! Put on the brakes! Put on the brakes! Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, poofties, bong-eyed heifers, right and left-wing wackos, woodchucks and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kinkdom, to another version of It's News to Us.
Yes, welcome everyone out there in TV land.
Yes, yes, say hello, little dog, and little dogs too. Okay. Go, you got your own camera. Philo's got it set up for you.
There he goes, I got him.
There, do something camera worthy.
Well, so it's
No, get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. You got your own camera. Get, go play. You have to shame him into it, otherwise he'll be passed out through the whole show like an old drunk. Anyways, you're watching It's News to Us. Thanks to Philo. We're Newport's oldest TV news. Watch us new. Here, new brown cow, as the locals say. Hey, you've got adult themes in adult language. You're advised. It's mostly G-rated, though.
Means greatness.
Yeah, right. It means, good grief, what am I watching? Beware the Bronze Age invisible sky god. He's going to beat you and forgive you and beat you and forgive you and beat you and maybe forgive you. And we're all inclusive here. We cater to men, women, men who think they're women, women who think they're men, men who dress like women who think they're men who dress like men. You're all included. Everybody's welcome. And speaking of which, oh my God.
There's a dog's butt.
Yeah, frog butt. We're going to have a government-enforced diversity, and I didn't get to ask Phil Scott about this. I don't know if you've noticed this, but probably not. Most people have jobs. Well, I don't know. Nobody's working anymore. We're all kind of like staying at home. And so anyways, I weaseled my way into the news conferences.
Yeah.
I kept bugging them down in Montpelier. And I kept bugging him and saying, hey, look, I've had a news show at NEK for 10 years now. Can I get in on these news conferences, please? Yada, yada, yada. So they let me in. And then I started asking questions that some of them would say they don't like. And it's nothing personal. Just because I disagree with old Pickle Nose and, his policies doesn't mean I don't like the guy. I mean, I ask deep, probing questions, and then after this guy dies in Minneapolis, and we're all supposed to atone for some racism that doesn't exist. Philo and I went through schools, and we showed you last week about the women who in the obituaries, the women who've done incredible things with their lives. One was a research biologist and all this stuff, and it's the same thing with black people. And, I guess Governor Snot seems to think that we're all a bunch of ignorant rubes. There's like two kinds of Vermonters. There's the Vermonters that have been here and never left the state. We had those in Massachusetts and New Hampshire too, trust me. And then there's people who've been out in the real world and traveled around and worked here and there. And, and we've, I've worked with people. I had a black teacher. My best teacher in school was black. My boss after school was black. Incidentally, his name was Maurice Oliver. He played drums with Little Richard. He knew Jimi Hendrix personally. And, and Governor Scott's going to treat us like a bunch of damn rednecks that we have to be talked down to, like we're all racist. I didn't get to question him about that. I'm sick of this nanny crap. So anyways, they were going on and on and on about this guy who got killed last week. And trust me, I don't like to see anybody killed, and especially anybody killed by a cop, and especially anybody killed by a cop for no damn reason. It turns out the guy had fentanyl and meth in his system. But that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, he wouldn't get in the cruiser. If he had just got in the damn cruiser, when they handcuffed him, he probably would have been fine. Look, boys and girls, for those of us who had interactions with police, especially after dark. You don't know what these cops are. I mean, the cops are fearful for their lives and safety too. And when a guy with a gun tells you to get in the back of a car, especially one in uniform, you get in the back of the damn car, you know? I'm sorry, but you got to follow commands and comply, or bad things will happen. They do. I've seen them. So anyways, last week, I asked him about these people, okay? These are the ones that just came to mind recently. These are just in the past few years. Wayne Brunette, a guy he'd pruned his mother's apple tree in front of his house over near Burlington, and she didn't like it, and he was out there doing some landscaping or something. The cop showed up. He started swinging a shovel at him, and one of the cops, there were two cops. One was a French-Canadian last name. The other guy was the Italian. The Italian cop didn't shoot the guy at all. But within 4 minutes of showing up, the French-Canadian guy, what was the guy's name? Thibault. Thibault, whatever. He just blew him away. I mean, he executed Wayne Brunette right there. Boom, boom, boom. And he wasn't using regular bullets either, Philo. He was using those hollow points, the claw type, you know, the ones that open up and shred and make big wound cavities. Mm-hmm. Well, what are they doing with those kind of bullets? You know what I mean? That Wayne Brunette came to mind. Ken Stevens. Ken Stevens was accused of dealing heroin. Okay, he's a heroin dealer. Well, just like the black guy who was on meth and fentanyl. Ken Stevens. All he had was a friggin' muzzleloader, a single-shot muzzleloader, and he carried it to the door. He didn't know who it was. And the DEA and the Burlington cops blew his ass away. Boom! Killed him. Quicker than snot. Phil Greenon, a senior citizen, a senior friggin' citizen. Guy was in his late 70s, or mid to late 70s. He was living in some assisted living facility in Burlington. He was hole up in his shower with a couple of friggin' steak knives, and the Burlington cops came in and blew him away. It's still on YouTube. You can see it. They posted the body cam. Phil Greenon, boom, blew him away, okay? Then there was a guy named Jesse Bishaw, over in St. Albans, near St. Albans. They came up, this one cop blew him away. And because he had a warrant, a suspicion of burglary warrant, Philo. That's all he had. Now, here's the last three that come to mind. Nate Griffin. Nate Griffin was surrounded by 9 cops, okay? 9 cops. He's not going anywhere. I think he had fired a few shots. It was down in Montpelier or something. But his gun was empty. They could have taken him out. They could have tased him. They could have darted him. They could have done something. They could have talked him down off the ledge. 9 cops blew him away. Ben Greg Ware. 12 cops, surrounded by 12 cops. He had a BB gun. And Governor Scott says to me, well, it was a BB gun, looked like a real gun. It wasn't like an old Daisy pellet rifle. And I'm all like, shick, Sherlock. Shick being the razor. And I'm all like, before I could say anything to our pickle-nosed governor, it's like, come on. You don't have to tell me about BB guns that look like real guns. I had 2 FBI agents come to my house when I was a kid looking for my brother because one of his BB pistols was used in a bank robbery somewhere near Boston. And you're going to love this story, Philo, right? The FBI agents show up at the house, right? And they're all like, we want to talk to Bob Merrill. And I says, really? I says, he's not here right now. Where is he? We want to talk to him. And I said, look, I'm his brother, Steve. I can fill you in, whatever. No, we want to talk to Bob Merrill right away. So I'm all like, okay, smart asses. So you know where I sent him, Philo? I sent him right to where my brother was, down on Page Street. You know where that was? In the cemetery. So they go down there, find his headstone. They figure they come back, and they're okay, smart ass, tell us what you know. Well, it's like, hey, if you goons had given me a minute and didn't try and steamroll me, I would have been able to tell you what happened, that he got killed in Vietnam. But, oh, no, you wanted to talk to him right away. Is that thing skipping, that green screen, Philo?
It isn't working. I've tried 3 times to make it go, and it won't go.
You want to throw in another one?
Well, no, what else you got?
Yeah, anything out there. Take your pick.
Well, I've got your other ones here.
Take the one in the golden cover. So anyways, they came back. Yeah, thanks, Philo. And and here's another thing. Philo keeps the people here at NEK. I can't thank them enough. Just recently we changed up the music on my show. All the stuff that we do here. Of course, now he's acting up. All the stuff that we do here at the TV studio, it is not required of them. I mean, anybody can come in and do the shows and stuff, but a lot of this extra stuff they do out of the goodness of their hearts. Hey, where are you going, fool? and I appreciate it. And trust me, after doing shows at home for the last 4 or 5 weeks, it is so good to be back into the studio. So anyways, back to the people, the white people that got shot in Vermont that nobody seemed to care about, Okay, where are we? Ben Gregoire, 12 cops. He had a BB gun. And then Michael Battles. There were 5 cops surrounding him, and they blew him away too. And what did these last three shootings all have in common, Philo?
I don't know. Tell me, because I'm trying to get your
one of the shooters and who had been shooting, and all 3 of these that I just mentioned, Nate Griffin, Ben Gregoire, and Michael Battles, was a trooper named Trooper Brown, who happened to be a black guy blowing away white people. Okay. And so I asked about him at the press conference last Friday, or was it Monday? Whatever. And guess who got back to me? Adam Silverman, the spokesman from the Vermont State Police. He said, no, they got rid of him last June, a year ago. So he's dead, Philo. I think we killed him. I think he's dead. Mac, you breathing? He's toast. So anyways, all these people that got shot, and T.J. Donovan, our Attorney General, and who we joke about. What does the T.J. and T.J. Donovan stand for? Totally justified. Yeah, he's dead. We killed him, folks.
It's all his humor. He couldn't take our humor.
He died. The poor dog died. He died. So, so anyways, I asked about that because, these Governor Scott's telling us we're all racist and stuff and this and that, because some guy gets blown away in Minneapolis, but yet not a word is spoken about all the white people that got shot in Vermont. Well, I just can't understand
was Phil
why.
Scott born here or not?
Yeah, I don't know. And one of the last things I mentioned too, I said you brought up that cop in St. Albans who actually is a neighbor of mine, right? I don't know him. I know him enough to wave to him. That's about it. The cop in St. Albans who got caught jap slapping this woman, this mouthy drunk woman. He couldn't take it anymore. I guess she was kicking and spitting and everything. So he finally hauled off and let her have it, right? He got fired. They mentioned him during the press conference. So I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, goofy ass dog. I said, as a matter of fact, that cop, a year before he got fired, that very same cop had gone to a shooting where there was an active shooter. This kid was out in front of his girlfriend's house with an M6 AR-15, shooting up into the sky, scaring the crap out of his ex-girlfriend, and they took him out with one shot, Philo, to the leg. When they were justified, they could have blown him away and been justified, but they didn't. And this guy showed restraint, and because he slapped some drunk-ass woman around, he gets canned off the force. Oh, and then the deaths. He was going on and on about, well, you had a conference with these people, and that idiot, the Department of Health guy, Dr. Levine. It remind Mac, move. Go on. Matt, go out there. Go see Terry. Go. Get.
Hey, stay there.
This Dr. Levine This guy. It reminds me of the movie Lawrence of Arabia, where Anthony Quinn says, thank God, Dryden or whatever, that, you know, that the Lord gave you a fool's face when he made you a fool, so you could be easily recognized. This guy goes on. I said, well, I asked something about the guy coming from, as an example. I asked him about the guy who came here from Italy, and then he was like patient zero and it spread. He gets out there like I'm bitching about the guy who came here from Italy. Well, our enemy is the virus, not people who've traveled from, one point to another. I'm all like, no kidding, you idiot. Why the hell? What, you think I'm prejudiced against people who travel to Italy or something? He goes into this long-winded diatribe about blah, 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 it's a virus, the enemy, blah. It's just nuts, man. These people, it's like they're not even listening. All right, we've lost 55 old people. 55 old people to, it's Uncle Bill. Somebody's car alarm.
Oh, yeah, I hear that. I can hear it.
Yeah, 55 old people to this massive coronavirus that we got to lock down the whole state for, okay? All right, here's how much we lose in a year, right? And the Spanish flu in 1918 killed over 2,000 Vermonters, okay? Last year, 2017 rather, in Vermont, we lost 1,434 to heart disease, 1,300, I'll round them off, 1,300 to cancer, 400 to accidents, respiratory disease, 375, strokes, 250, diabetes, 163, suicide, 112, high blood pressure, 86, Parkinson's, 81, firearms deaths, 70, 15 to homicide, and 134 to drug ODs. So we lost almost 3 times as much to drug ODs. And, they closed down the whole state for 53 dead people.
Who were probably going to die of something else anyway.
Exactly. Like I said, we're not preventing any deaths. All we're doing is postponing them. But they don't see it that way because, see, and now where he's running for re-election, I asked him about debates too. I said, look, because another reporter had asked him about debating other candidates, and he mumbled and taptoed his way out of that one. So I asked him again. I said, Governor, what would the availability of video, Zoom and everything else, right? It would be so easy to either in the primary or the general or both to have a debate with the damn Zoom, with the online or on camera. Why don't you do it that way? Oh, well, he says I can't do that. Oh, shit, I gotta devote all my time and attention to this virus, mister. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Well, you know what? Who's he going to debate besides John Clark?
Well, Clark in the primary, and or maybe Clark in the independent in the primary, and then whoever in the general. But it's the debate. I don't care who the hell he debates. Just get up there and let's see what you got to say for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in the general, he'll probably be running against Zuckerman.
Oh, my old buddy Ponytail Dave.
Yep.
I love Dave to death. He's like a brother to me, and I'm not kidding. I've known Zuckerman for a long time, from when I ran Dexter's campaign and the Progressive Party in 2004.
Dexter Manley?
No.
You remember Dexter Manley?
Yeah. A few sports figures come to mind, but not many.
Would you believe the poor guy went through college and was playing pro football and didn't know how to read?
What, really?
Yeah, they never taught him, even in college. Nobody even paid attention to that.
That I did not know.
Yeah, and finally, after many years, they said, maybe we should teach this guy how to read. But really, they didn't even bother. All they cared about in college was football, 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 and nobody ever bothered to say, maybe you should pass some classes. Maybe we should teach him how to read.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, if you can't even read and you're going to college, I mean, what do they think this is, Vermont?
No, it's what you call a football factory, and a lot of these colleges are just that. They're football factories or basketball factories. That's all they're in it for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and look at Vermont, too. What is it? Something like over 50% are not proficient in math or reading or anything.
Yeah, but that's not your colleges, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's just in elementary and secondary, come on. Anyways, here we are. The looting. Again, I was talking to Philo about this earlier, okay? The one set, MSNBC and all these CNN and those guys, they're all saying, calling these people peaceful protesters and stuff. And Fox News is showing the darker side of this. I mean, the people being beaten, storefronts being looted. I was up until 3, 4 in the morning, starting last Thursday, Friday night. Every night, I'm watching this stuff. It was unbelievable, man.
Well, the wife and I were watching CNN and MSNBC, and we saw a lot of fires break out and a lot of looting. We saw the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, in Los Angeles, they were going block to block. And here's another thing. They got a YouTube video. Just punch in on YouTube. Pile of bricks in front of Dallas courthouse. These people were strategically placing Molotov cocktails, piles of bricks, piles of stones, so that they could throw at cops and light fires. And they were they were going block by block. They would take care of a block, and this is in California. California, except for like downtown LA and downtown San Diego, stuff like that, where the skyscrapers are, most of it is all like 1 or 2, 3 stories tall, right, Philo?
Yep.
And so you got a store, a jewelry store, liquor store, whatever on the bottom, and you've got a house, a residence on top where people are living, okay? And these jokers are going and robbing the liquor stores and then lighting them on fire on the way out. And so then the cops and the fire department show up, and then they'll go a block or 2 blocks away and do the same thing all over again, block by block by block. It was insane. And in St. Louis, here was, a retired St. Louis cop was shot and killed early Tuesday by people who had broken into a pawn shop. David Dorn was found dead in front of Lee's Pawn and Jewelry. They haven't released the details. A violent night in St. Louis saw 4 officers shot, other officers pelted with rocks, businesses burned and robbed. Yeah, peaceful demonstrators, my eye. And I saw this video of this liquor store owner in Long Beach, Philo. It was unbelievable. It's on YouTube, too. Funny, man. I'm not kidding. Is big black guy, right? Makes me look small, and I could lose a lot of weight, right, boys and girls? This black guy owned a liquor store. He's out in front of it with his M16 or AR-15, right? And he's holding the looters at bay, and they're all like dancing, and then after about 20 minutes, they realized, hey, this guy's got a 20, 30 round clip, man. It's not like a revolver where you could get off 6 shots and then the crowd can rush them, okay? When you got a semi-automatic, that's what they're designed for. And that's why it's important that we not let them outlaw them. Because when civilization breaks down and they're coming to your house or my house, it's good to have that firepower when you need it.
Can I ask you a question, though?
Sure.
Is that our military, our national military, our army,
Yep.
is it their job to police the streets? Because if I'm a soldier and somebody tells me to go shoot into that crowd, I'm not doing it.
According
That's
to
up
the
to the
Posse
police.
Comitatus Act, no. But if it got really bad, I mean, the National Guard can usually take care of everything.
Yes, that's their job. They're designed to
Back up the cops.
They're designed to protect the nation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially the military police wing of the Guard, right?
Yeah. And that's what I had against all of our National Guard going over to Iraq.
Oh, really?
Into
Yeah.
Afghanistan, because that's not where they're supposed to be deployed. They're supposed to be in the nation, right?
Yeah, and exactly. Philo's exactly right, and they can take care of it and back up the cops. But the problem with the cops was, like in New York and in L.A., they weren't given the proper orders. In New York City, they got, what, 35,000 cops in New York City, boys and girls, okay? It's a small army. But de Blasio wouldn't let him. What de Blasio did was he bypassed the police commissioner, Philo, and he called the individual police chiefs, right, for each district.
Yeah, for each borough, yeah.
Yeah, and told them, don't do it. Just stand back. Let them go. Don't do it. So finally, only when Cuomo on Sunday night or whatever, Sunday night, Monday night, when Cuomo finally said, look, that's it, we're going to bring in the National Guard if we have to, but the New York cops can take care of this. They have the equipment, they have the manpower, they know how to kettle demonstrators, they know how to kettle rioters, and they got the buses to take them away, the zip tie, and so that's what they did last night. And they dropped the curfew from 11 p.m. to 8 p.m. because 11 p.m. curfew is a joke, You can do a lot of damage after dark, and that's what they did.
Yeah, we watched them, I don't know what night it was, Saturday or Sunday, we watched them setting stuff on fire in New York City.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was CNN or MSNBC, but we saw it.
Oh, and here we are. Again, the governor is so hung up on racism, it just burns my ass.
Well, maybe he wants to import some. I don't know.
It's
I don't
like,
know what his problem is.
only 1.4% of the state's population is black. Yet the health department's COVID-19 statistics show that 3.7% of the cases in Vermont are Black African Americans. Well, I don't know, maybe it's a genetic thing. They treat, excuse me, but it's a fact that the black folks have a higher incidence of being overweight, of not taking care of their blood pressure, and it's not because they won't be treated. I almost asked him this. I was gonna too Monday. I was gonna ask him, really, Governor, do you really think in this day and age that if a black person shows up at a hospital or a doctor's office, they're going to tell them, I'm going to treat you different, or I'm not going to treat you the way I would a white person because you can't afford to pay me the bill? I mean, do they really think that would happen, Philo?
It did up until Reagan signed something in the '84, I think it was.
Yeah, which made everybody, treat them.
You said you can't withhold treatment on account of insurance. But until then, they could.
Yeah.
And they would.
It's the old joke where W.C. Fields is playing the doctor, and he tells this. It's a great skit. It's probably on YouTube, and he tells the patient. He says, "Here you go." He says, "You'll be fine, and the nurse will give you your clothes back when you're done paying the bill." So, anyways, he's going on and on and on. It's like, what the hell? The number of deaths remains steady at 55. We're keeping this whole state shut down for 55 deaths. And it's insane. Oh, did you hear about the guy getting hit with a pickle, Philo?
Yeah, I did. Oh, by the way, over in Boylington, the bastion of liberal fascism, you go into some stores. Some stores won't even let you in. For example, Advanced Music, you can't go in and buy moon gels, cymbals, drums, guitars. No, it's curbside. You call in, tell them what you want, and they meet you at the door. But you can go into one of their junk stores, and they've got arrows all over the place. How to go up one aisle, down another aisle. And then you've got another place like TJ Maxx. The men's department is almost non-existent now, and they had their bathrooms shut off because of the COVID virus.
How are you supposed to wash your hands?
Yeah, and if you're from out of town, how are you supposed to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, where are you supposed to whiz?
Right, out in the back, I suppose.
Man, when I ran my antique store, people would say, I didn't care if they were customers or not. I had a little tiny bathroom tucked underneath a staircase, right? It's how small my antique shop was. But I was up at the end of Ray Street, and there was nothing else around. They didn't have no porta potties and nothing except way down the end of the, near the railroad tracks, near the river. And people would come in. It's like, can I use your bathroom? Yeah, sure, man. I mean, you got to be inhumane not to let somebody use your bathroom.
Well, that's on the interstate, on the pull-offs, all of the service stations there. None of the bathrooms are open. They got porta potties outside and garbage all over because they're not even emptying the trash buckets on these rest areas. I know, we went right by one.
It's unbelievable.
Yep. There you go. Engine
Thank you.
fill.
Yep, sure.
Good going.
Go back to the old days. You know, in the old days, where the queers, they we used to call them the whispering bushes. In the rest areas, you'd pull over after dark or whatever, and we'd be down in Boston drinking beer and partying and whatever, and you could barely make it home, and you'd pull into the rest area near Concord or whatever, and the whispering bushes would be like, hey, psst, psst, hey, buddy, come here. And it's like, get the hell out of here. I'm straight, man. Go away. Man charged with assault after thrown pickle hits worker. A masked man is facing assault charge after he threw a large pickle from a moving vehicle that hit a Vermont highway worker. It was later determined to be a large pickle. The highway worker said caused him pain. I smell a workers' comp case, Philo.
Oh, easily.
AOT division provided a description, which led him to the cops in Williamstown, Mass. Christoph, that's it? No, not Christopher, Christoph. That's a name, Philo?
That's a German name. The drummer for Rammstein's name is Christoph Schneider. So
Okay,
it's a German name.
Well, here you go. Here's the last name. Christoph Hermansdorfer.
Yep, that's German.
Yeah. Two
I'm afraid.
R's, two N's. Hermansdorfer. Christoph Hermansdorfer, 34 of Williamstown, was cited to appear in the court in Bennington next month to answer the charge of simple assault with a pickle.
Oh my gosh, what's the world coming to?
Yeah. Oh, good grief. And
Griefly.
celebrity dopes or dupes. Here we are. All these celebrities are coming out supporting the so-called nonviolent protesters. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's see. And a couple of them got roughed up, too, you think? Rapper Machine Gun Kelly said, silence is betrayal. Pop star Ariana Grande tweeted that we chanted, people beeped and cheered along. Oh boy, Ariana, you make a big difference. Sampson was shown in the front of a standoff with police. Some of the details on the video aren't clear. He said a rubber bullet that police shot into the ground ricocheted and hit his assistant. That's how you know you're a celebrity, Philo, when you go to a demonstration and you got to take your assistant with you. And your PR person and your spokesman, right?
Sounds good to me.
Oh, yeah. The video shows Sampson step in front of his assistant and an officer hit him at least twice with a baton. Then the officer aimed straight at me, no ricochet, and shot the rubber bullet. It was one of 7 shots I took. They're excruciating and they can kill. Well, no kidding, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, I went through this when I was a kid. We came out of a Dead show, and there were cops, MDC cops in Boston on horseback, and they were clubbing people like baby seals, man. I prefer to stay away from the violence. Thank you very much. But that's just me. Sports are a distraction we don't need now, really? And there were beatdowns too, man, all over. If you could see that Tucker Carlson thing from June 1st, there was this one guy who was beaten with a skateboard and a rock in Dallas, man. I mean, brutally. It's horrible. It's all on film. Another jewelry store owner, him and his wife lived upstairs from his jewelry store, Philo.
Yeah.
And the thugs are starting to break through the windows and steal the jewelry. So he and his wife come running downstairs and try to stop them. And so the next thing you know, they start beating his wife. So he comes out with a stick and that don't work. A stick, and the thugs grabbed like a 8-foot-long 2x4 and started beating this guy and his wife in front of their jewelry store. And then it showed the cars being attacked on the freeway in San Jose. These people are just driving home, whatever, down the freeway, and these mongoloids come running into the friggin' freeway, and then they start beating on the cars, and then some of them had those expandable clubs, the metal ones that you recoil, and they open up, and they're beating, breaking windows and stuff. It's like, hey, man, if they did that to me, I'd pull out the 357 and say, look, you don't want to do it. You're not going to break my windshield, Bucky. No, this is where it stops. It stops right here. I only got 6 shots, but I got a couple of speed loaders, and I'm sure. I'm sure. Oh, and here we are. Since Governor Snot has shut down the restaurants and stuff, Philo, they've been selling liquor to go, drinks to go.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, now they want it permanent. Like, what could go wrong there, huh, Terry?
I don't understand why some places get to stay open because they're considered essential, but hip and knee replacements aren't.
Yeah, that kills me too. Who determines what's essential and what's non-essential?
Somebody explained it to me like this. They said they felt that Governor Scott felt that if people couldn't buy booze, then they would go through withdrawal and somebody might die. It's like, okay, if you're drinking that much, you're going to get what you deserve.
You should get your ass into detox.
Well,
there's your chance.
There's getting somebody's butt.
Yeah.
Really? Come on. Alcohol is essential?
Right. Right, because they tax it. The petition, posted on May 29th to change.org, addresses temporary sales of alcohol via curbside pickup and delivery allowed in Scott's state of emergency. Declared in March. The petition asks that the permission be put into law. I would like to tell businesses you can count on this for the next few years as part of your business model and not worry that to-go alcohol sales will disappear soon, said Austin Davis, the Chamber of Fascists. These businesses are going to be digging out of this crisis for a while, and that's what I asked him today. I'm all like, I said, you're talking about $400 million. You want to give $400 million of our money to businesses, and you're waiting for it to go through the legislature? I says, I know you said Governor Scott, you said you can't control the legislature. I said, but you can control opening and closing that spigot. I said, why don't you just open them back up? I said, why are you going to take money? Why are you taking money from people, from ordinary taxpayers, to pay for businesses that are struggling because you have closed them down? You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're going to take money out of my pocket, yours, you over there on the couch, you out back in the garage. They're going to take money out of our pockets to pay for restaurants and bars that we never go to. Because Pickle Nose says, oh, yeah, 55 people are dead and I don't want to hurt. Oh, I'm just scared of my own shadow.
How many of these people who are so worried about deaths, why are they so quick to say, oh, yeah, let's go to war?
Because they're not the ones fighting.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We don't care if somebody else dies, but we don't want to go.
What's the old saying, like the ancient and honorable artillery company, invincible during peacetime and invisible during wartime?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's it. These businesses are going to be digging in. Davis said restaurant and bars need all the help they can get once the state of emergency is lifted. It might take 5 or 6 years to get back on their feet. Oh, sure. Like I said, take it out of our pockets, put it into their pockets. I would sue him personally, okay? If I ran a business When you signed up and you got your liquor license, you got your occupancy license, you got your health license, you got your common victualer's license to serve food, went through all these hoops to get all these licenses, and then the governor comes and pulls the rug out from underneath you, and suddenly all these licenses are not valid anymore, Terry, that should be brought to court.
Well, there should be one smart lawyer that does it.
I would think so, damn it. Yeah, Trump slams governor or harder crackdown, no kidding. Oh, did you see the SpaceX? That was the one good story that came out of last week. Space is the final frontier, and I will never forgive that nasty ass Obama for shutting down the shuttle program, okay? I mean, if you've ever seen the space shuttle, boys and girls, that thing we couldn't have built the space station without it. That space shuttle is so big, you can fit a tractor trailer in the back of it and lift it into space. That's how big the thing is. It takes 3 million pounds of thrust to bring that thing into space. Nothing can carry a payload like the shuttle did. And what would Obama do? Oh, Obama was more concerned about giving more food stamps to more poor people and giving out Obama phones to people who neither needed or wanted the damn Obama phones. So we had to pay for Obama phones. Meanwhile, we had to pay the Russians to bring our asses into space. Well, thankfully, Elon Musk is working on a heavy lift rocket. It's going to take a while for that to get, but they're talking about starting a moon colony, Philo, by 2024. Can you believe it?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's because, everybody's talking about Mars, but you got to start 1 foot at a time. You got to start on the moon. And we can't get these giant modules into space and up to the moon unless we have a heavy lift rocket that can take as much as a space shuttle.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's been to Mars.
Yeah, I remember when he takes off his head, the thing's going
Yeah.
Had some old lady head, and it turned out to be Arnold underneath it.
By the way, he got injured really badly doing that movie in one of those stunts.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, when he went through that plate glass window. That was filmed in Mexico, by the way.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, he went through that. It was supposed to break before he jumped through it, and it didn't. And he put up like 18 stitches in his arm.
Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah, the H stands for holy.
Yeah, here we are. In 2011, this is Doug and Bob's Terrific Adventure or whatever. In 2011, Hurley was on the final shuttle mission's rendezvous with the ISS when Obama killed it, 2011. And his team left behind an American flag to be retrieved by the next group of astronauts launched from U.S. soil. Now, nearly 10 years later, he'll collect the flag he left behind. And I watched the docking. I wanted to see the docking, but you know how it is with NASA. You tune in for something, and they check, and they recheck, and then SpaceX double checks, and then it took them 4 damn minutes just to do the pressurization equalization. You know what I mean? And finally, I'm watching. I said, "Yeah, heck with it. I'll watch it on YouTube later." So I watched on YouTube, and it took them, another 20 minutes, and they finally opened the hatch and came in. And that is so cool. That's what's going to save us, boys and girls. Space, the final frontier. It's just and here we are. Last week in Dear Scabby, she recommended, these people were complaining in New Jersey. There he goes. They're complaining in New Jersey about kids playing in the house next door, Philo. And they were all ready to snitch on the kids and call the police and complain to the police about the kids not social distancing, right? And dear Abby says it's okay. Yeah, I'd turn them in too, she says. Well, boy, did she get an earful from the anti-Nazis, man. It says, Dear Annie, in response to your concern notifying authorities about the kids playing next door, I'd say they're not invading your space, leave them alone. It's whether, what if it became illegal to gather in small groups to worship in church and people started spying on their neighbors? This will start a government control that gets completely out of hand, like in communist countries. On the other hand, I got another man coming into a building, blah, blah, blah. Dear readers, aggravated. Many readers wrote to complain about my answers, a nervous neighbor in New Jersey, which I wish I could take back. However, you are in agreement, and I appreciate your balanced approach. Here's another one. Dear Annie, your answer to nervous neighbor was terrible. Your first comment was, yes, call the hotline. Rat on your neighbors. It's okay. You did add a but a good plan, blah, blah, blah. The part I'm concerned about is your glib comments about ratting on one's neighbors. Doesn't a hotline where we can report each other to the authorities concern you at all? This is really Nazism at its best. And it went on and on and on. She's been apologizing profusely, Philo.
Oh, you didn't see the email I sent you, did you?
Probably not. I've been busy.
Yes, this socialite woman, white woman in New York City, turned two black people into the police. One was a black guy who asked her to please put your dog on a leash.
Oh, I saw that, Karen, yeah.
And then the other one was I think it was just yesterday, she turned in a black woman who was sitting on a park bench doing nothing. And she called the police on her.
For what?
I don't know, but the cops went and said to her, what are you doing? The woman's sitting on a park bench. We're not going to arrest anybody. A socialite. They're special, you know.
What the hell even is a socialite these days?
It's a person who's involved with the arts and fashion, and they're an entertainer.
Oh, I see.
And that makes them so special.
Dear Police Department, my neighborhood, well, it reminds me, speaking of which, you know that cop we were talking about earlier, right?
Yep.
Well, about 15 years ago, little Billy Stinker, before he got caught in the biggest fraud scheme at Ponzi Peak at the ski area, he decided he was going to, instead of hiring locals, he was going to pinch pennies and make even more money, right, Philo?
Yep.
By hiring Jamaicans, okay? Well, the Jamaicans speak English, like the Mexican sheetrockers that lived across the street from me, right? They had a language barrier. I used to go over there and bring them fresh herbs and tomatoes and stuff. Great neighbors. I got to bone up on my Spanish and stuff, And they told me, man, you're the only one who in this whole village who even came over and talked to us, man. So anyways,
hey, man,
I'm with this guy. It was like Cheech and Chong. So I'm with this guy, and and of course they're not going to stay at the mountain all the time, right? They got to come into town and get some. They loved green bananas. They'd fry them up and stuff like that, right? So he starts getting calls from all these people in the village. It's like, there's darkies down here. There's Negroes in the village. What are you gonna do about it? And I was with him when he got one of these calls. And he says, yes, I know they're there. He says, they're working at J Peak. They're fine. They just come down to shop. And these old people are just losing their shitzel. And there's black people in the village. It was hysterical, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Here we are. FDA recalls contaminated diabetes drug. Imported drugs. This is another thing. Like I said, I'm going to give Trump credit when he deserves it. And what we got to do is we got to start making drugs here again. All right? Because some of the crap that we're getting from China and even India is just terrible. And it's contaminated, man. Here we are. U.S. health regulators told 5 drug members. What's this from? This is from, what paper is it? Oh, for crying out loud. Sunday's paper. Regulators told 5 drug makers recall versions of widely used diabetes medication after lab tests found elevated levels of a contaminant linked to cancer. The FDA late Thursday said that several batches of metformin tested positive for unsafe levels of nitrosodimethylamine Methylamine being the stuff, remember, they needed on Breaking Bad to make meth?
Yep.
Nitrosodium methylamine, a possible carcinogenic chemical that can form as a byproduct. The agency was stepped up testing after the chemical was found in dozens of shipments of blood pressure and heartburn drugs last year, triggering recalls of Zantac and other popular over-the-counter medications. Metformin tabs are a staple of diabetes care, reducing excess sugar in the blood. People with type 2 use it for alone or with other drugs to control their blood sugar. More than 34 million people in the U.S. have this disease. You want to get, excuse me, if you want to avoid type 2 diabetes, look at the package of whatever it is you're eating. I don't care if it's soda or any kind of food. If it says, if it's got corn syrup in it instead of cane sugar, don't do it, man. High fructose corn syrup will put your spleen into a lockdown. I'm telling you, we are designed to eat sugar and sucrose and sweets and stuff. Our bodies have been doing that since time immemorial. We are not made to have high fructose corn syrup. They started putting that stuff in everything in the 1980s, and look what's happened. Let's see. Patients should continue taking metformin until their doctor can prescribe a replacement, noting the risks of discontinuing it. So, score one for Trump, okay? China, okay? China is not our friend, okay? No. In India, unless we have FDA inspectors right at the factories where they make the drugs and check the stuff all the time. I mean, I mentioned this with one of my buddies the other day, Philo, right? He was going off about the Indians, how they're still trying to get them to crap indoors through their new crap indoors program, right?
Yeah.
And he was making fun of them. Oh, those people are still crapping in the fields, for crying out loud. Well, that may be, okay? But on the other hand, the people of India, I mean, they had astronomy, science, mathematics, written language, all these things, water systems, sewerage systems, all these things that people in India had when our ancestors were still living in caves, okay? So never underestimate the Indians, all right?
Not only that, but look at the fertilizer. You want to grow good beets? There you go.
It's natural. Unbelievable. Another guy, federal contract security officer, was killed and other injured at a shooting outside the courthouse in Oakland. Great. Yeah, sure. We got no problem. There's no problem at all. Here it is. Fear sells, man. Everyone has a role to play to black something that's better than what's being destroyed. The community's excited. There's this pent-up, we want to get out of the house energy. I see people going back to pre-pandemic behavior like everything's okay in the world and the rest of us are walking on eggshells, she says. It's like, look, if you're scared to go out, stay in. It's just that simple. Don't lock down the rest of us, man. No. Essential workers. There's just so many other essential workers to keep in mind these times, too. Now it's the nursing homes, grocery stores, and the poor people at Lowe's are getting mobbed every weekend. Oh, see? So you're more likely to be an essential business if you're a mega business like Walmart, or Target.
Or you mean wall hog?
Yeah, wall hog, whatever you want to call them.
That's what I call it, wall hog.
They are. My buddy Doug used to call them Walmart, and that one just stuck with me for some reason. I know, Mac, it's getting near an hour. I know.
We got some good Mac footage today.
Yeah. To survive, owners take on takeout. Yeah, but they can't make it, man. It's keeping some employees employed, which is really the goal. It's not viable long term, said Jed Davis, owner of the Farmhouse Group. Restaurants need to reopen soon. The governor doesn't get it. Old Pickle knows, man. I'm not sure if this guy's going in for an early cocktail hour, but I'm telling you, you don't get a nose like that from avoiding alcohol. It's just, maybe it's hereditary. I don't know, man. That big honker is getting bigger and purpler by the day. Before the pandemic, Davis employed 230 people. Now he's down to 25. And the Fed financial aid isn't enough to help him. He said Scott and the legislature are listening to the owners and he supports his response. But I know they're fully aware how dire the situation is. And again, they want to take $400 million out of our pockets to pay these people, when he could open them up and let them get ripping and get back to work. Let's see. If you can get a little trickle of income so you can cover your bills and hope the economy will recover, that's the goal. Well, it's not the economy, it's our state economy, man. This one guy's got debts to pay on a 5-year-old bistro, so he's shutting down his 80-seat restaurant. Wasn't an option. His 14-member staff is down to 2 full-time people, including himself and a part-timer. First week, he saw a roughly 65-cent drop in sales from a year ago. That's improved to a 50% drop. We hear daily from our employees that they want to come back to work, and we're proud of them when they're working right now. The job is a difficult time. I think employers gain a deeper appreciation. That's going to last. Well, it won't last if Pickle Nose keeps everything shut down. And here we are. Don't you love this too? We're all in this together.
No, we're not.
No, we're not, okay? We're not all in this together.
Forget it.
Some of us realize that this is the biggest joke since the comet Kohoutek, okay? This is the biggest letdown since the Hale-Bopp comet.
I remember that one. Now, that one was pretty bad, you know?
Yeah.
The Hale-Bopp comet. Gee whiz.
This is the biggest letdown since Evel Knievel tried to jump the Snake River Canyon.
And his parachute deployed on his way up.
Yeah.
Not on his way down.
We're going to have the biggest stinking party the stinking desert's ever seen. And Governor Scott's going on and on and on about 100,000 deaths. We've reached 100,000 deaths. It's a grim milestone. Well, you know what? Who died last week, Philo? Larry Kramer. Remember him? The guy, the AIDS act-up guy?
Yeah.
He was a playwright and stuff. Well, you know what happened when the AIDS, the grim milestone of 100,000 AIDS patients happened, Philo?
What's that?
It was relegated to page 17 or 18 of the New York Times.
Okay, Steve, last but not least.
That's how much they cared about it. That's how much they cared about AIDS victims. Because, that was just queers and junkies.
Yep.
Oh, so now we reach 100,000 when we only have 60,000 who die from the flu season. Yeah, Larry Kramer, the playwright whose angry voice and pen, he went after Fauci too, man. He went after that. He wouldn't let Fauci off the hook. He was like a terrier. He had a hold of Fauci's pant leg.
Okay, you got to wrap it up.
Yeah, okay. Well, once again, look at all the stuff I didn't get to. Once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. Come on, little dog. And hopefully, we'll see you again next week, inshallah. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Until then, get down on your hands and knees. Pray to the Bronze Age invisible sky god. And sniff the bum of the guy in the man dressed next to you in the mosque, men only mosque, and say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar. Yes, Mackie.
Deus Magnus Est.
You had a lot of camera time today.